Hi, everybody. Welcome to Getting Through It with Lynn White and Friends. Today, my co-host, as always, my producer, Lillian Egan. We speak to two fabulous people, a couple, Amy Zerner and Monte Farber. Who are they? Well, they're astrologers. They are also entrepreneurs. They've written books. They have games out. They do a little bit of it all. Very serious topic to start. We wanted to know what the astrological aspects were that brought us here to another war in the Middle East. I want to just talk about the hard times. You turn on the TV, you turn on your computer, your phone blows up, especially right about now. We are going through some what feels to me like dark energy. War doesn't get worse than that, right? For a lot of people. And I know that there's some aspects, Monty, that are going on, much like the Civil War, the
Yes,
Revolutionary War.
yes, very much
And
so.
right, and we've got little patterns going on like Saturn, Neptune conjunctions, which you'll explain. We've got a full lunar eclipse coming up, a blood red moon. That's tomorrow,
Yeah.
Yes.
correct? What are the things that we have to look forward to or not?
Well, remember, you're talking to two people who were in their teens when the Vietnam War was going on.
Right.
So we've been together for 50 years,
Isn't
and
that beautiful? That's
yes,
amazing.
yes, it's our greatest accomplishment, not the 3 million books in 18 languages, but we've seen these kind of situations before, and we know we'll get through it because that's the name of your podcast, right?
Astrology really does help you get through because forewarned is forearmed, and it's not like we're surprised what's going on because astrologically,
Yes,
that's a description of, Saturn conjunct Neptune is the dissolving of structures that we're used to, long-standing structures and people that have been in power dissolving, and they're in Aries, which is warlike, but also quick changes, fast changes. So we all have to kind of ride those waves. And Neptune means we have to up our spiritual game,
Yeah.
get higher perspectives. It's not the same old in any way, anywhere.
These are aspects that we haven't seen in what, 6,000 years or so?
well, Saturn and Neptune haven't come together in Aries since the early 1700s. It's on the first degree of Aries, which is where the sun
Mm,
is on the first day of spring. And that's a big
I
deal.
see.
It's called the world point to astrologers. And we've known something's going to happen. And I have clients all around the world. Thank you, Zoom. And a lot of them are in the Middle East. And I've been telling them, well, the United States is definitely going to strike. And astrologically, this could go on for 4 to 6 weeks. I think it'll be over. So maybe we'll get through it.
You're right. Nobody wants war.
No,
Nobody wants people dying as a result of war. So there's always those challenges of how do we use our compassion and empathy, but then not take it all in because we can't. It's a time when the information is available that we can pile on ourselves. But then what do you do with that information? So we have to be very discerning about what things that we can do and things that we do have control over, which is basically our inner life and our surroundings. And Monty's been telling people to make their bases secure for a long time, since right before the pandemic.
and I've been telling them to buy gold since it was $1,600. So I have a lot of happy clients at this
I
point.
bet. Yeah.
Yeah, but you, an Emmy Award winning New York City journalist, you know the dark side of life since you're a kid.
Well, the news reporter, right?
Yeah.
And 9/11, that
Yes.
forever with
Yeah.
you. And that's the other side of this coin. We've lived through it. So we know
Yes.
that even though the actual war may last for up to 6 weeks, there will be repercussions that will be felt
Yes.
for a very long time to come. The whole
Yes.
Middle East is going to be destabilized for quite some time. There will be terrorist attacks felt around the
There
globe.
already have
There
been.
already are. And again, who needs the hate on, right? When you do something this critical, when you end other lives, there's karma to pay.
For
And
sure.
there are people who are hurting. There are people who are
Yes.
clapping. But in a way, It's a cleansing because we are moving to a whole nother insight, which hopefully is a higher grounded insight of spirituality through it, but it's still war, and war
Well, it's a
is death and
patriarchal
ending.
system. It's the patriarchal system that's been in play for forever, and we see it in politics, and we see it in, you know, the operation of all the nations. And to break that down and to break through, you know, it takes so long.
Yes, we're actually coming out of the dark ages still. I mean, Pluto just went into Aquarius, and I'm so glad to be on the show where I can talk about this. So Pluto,
Yeah, power to the people.
well, Pluto is power, exactly, and Aquarius is the symbol is pouring water out. So it could just as easily be feeding chickens. The Aquarius is the sign that represents the concept of throwing it out there.
Yeah.
And the people that are thirsty or the chickens that are hungry, they'll eat, and the ones that won't.
Right.
And that's why Aquarius has the reputation for being so emotionally cool, because they don't care. You can't care if you're just going to pour it out and know that there's going to be people who are not going to get it.
Right.
Yeah, like the people that I know that I read for in the Middle East, they think that a cleansed, from their point of view, and their words, a cleansed Iran would actually be good. It would be like injecting something good into that whole situation, and good could come of it. I hope that's what happens. I mean, I did not fight in the Vietnam War, and my father was a police sergeant on the line cracking skulls for the riots against the Vietnam War. And it's the only thing he ever apologized to me for was he said, that wasn't our war.
Yeah, I don't
But
think
you're
this one is
mentioning that
our war either, but you know, it is what it is. And
It is now.
it is now, and that's the sad thing. And I, you know, going back to the aspects, there's a Mars Uranus. I think it was a
Yes.
conjunction when this happened on the day
Yeah.
of
where,
Mars
Yeah.
energy, war, Uranus out of the blue, explosions. And it was inevitable. I mean, you
Yes.
as astrologers, you knew it. You could see
Yeah.
it coming.
Well, just
And
like, and as you said before, there's energy from the American Revolution going on right now.
that's
The
right.
United States is having what's known as the Pluto return. Pluto is the furthest planet, and it takes 240 something years to go around the solar system. It was in Capricorn when the United States was formed. Now it's in Pluto. It's just come into Aquarius. But we're having no empire survived the Pluto return without fundamental transformation. When Obama said he wanted to fundamentally transform, he was right in keeping with that concept. Because, I mean, Rome went from being whatever it was to a republic, then the Caesars, the next 240 years, you know, a fundamental transformation. And that's maybe the United States is going to be the United States that the founding people wanted to get going. Maybe now it really will be for everybody. Power to the people, like the first thing you said.
Right. And also the aspects are the same as in the French Revolution. And we know what happened there. You know, the people took their power back from the plutocrats and the king and the queen, right?
But we just got to make sure the psychopaths don't take over in these countries, because that's the problem.
That's the problem. That's the big problem.
It's not the cream that rises to the top. A lot of times it's the curdled milk that rises to the top, and they gain power. And the next thing you know, we have to deal with their craziness.
As we saw in Libya, as we saw in Iraq, these things never end well. And that's you know, they're not thought out. They're knee-jerk to some extent.
People don't respect the cultures.
Exactly.
Like the Middle East is very tribal. The way the borders were drawn didn't take the tribal nature of the areas into consideration. So right away you start off with conflict. Like the people from Mexico say, we didn't cross the border crossed us.
That's right. That's correct. And I think we forget that. We forget how this country was really born and who was really here before the Europeans came here and claimed it as their own. You know, again, it's one of those, we're here now. What do we do? And
100%.
Right. But I mean, you have the metaphor of, personally, lots of times we have to get sick before we find the way to heal. And it makes us grow because we discover things about ourselves and our resilience and parts of ourselves that might not have grown unless we've gotten sick. So the metaphor of the culture getting sick, because there's so many things that don't work now in the time that we're living. So getting rid of those. It's always this transitional time that's rocky.
You can see what's going on now with influencers. People don't want influencers.
Right.
They want to do what they want to do. When Rhoda was alive, and we had
Rhoda
friends,
Jaffe we're talking about, yeah, the
yes,
writer.
the best of everything. When
Our best
we had,
friend.
she was amazing, and
He was
Smart, so smart.
icon.
she was so smart and brilliant. And when we had our friend Candace Carpenter was starting iVillage,
Way
Mhm.
back, 95 maybe.
one of the first big like aggregate websites. And I said to Candace, I'm friends with Rona Jaffe. You can she'd write a column for you, because I spoke to Rona, and she says no, they want to be the experts.
The people.
And this is all the way back
people.
then.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you just see it a little bit now, but talk about power to the people. It's just going to get stronger, because that's the age of Aquarius, where there's a level playing field more than there ever was.
Right, and
you're seeing that, right?
Yes.
Not to interrupt you, in media, in legacy media, being eaten up by a certain party and the plutocrats, right, with their own agenda, so that they can describe the narrative to the rest of us. But the question is, who's going to watch that crap?
Exactly. And they've been shown to be wrong or downright lying.
Nobody trusts.
Right.
Yeah, there's no trust, or everybody thinks everybody's lying.
Or AI.
That's why you really have to develop your intuition, which are what our tools help you do.
Right, exactly.
And that's why a lot of journalists, speaking of, we're taking it back and creating our own.
Yes.
I'm so excited that you're doing it, because I mean, you've been a power, and you're like the center that holds rather than the center does not hold.
Thank you. Are you talking to me or somebody?
You even have a circle behind you on your wall. But I think a trusted news person like yourself, those are the podcast people, because you only have so much time in a day.
Authenticity, exactly. Which is what people want.
You have ethos.
The real messages, what we're hearing out there isn't what people are feeling in their homes, right? No, this isn't the golden age. No.
Oh my God, it sure isn't. If you're talking about the economy,
gas isn't $1 a gallon. I'm sorry. Eggs are like $5. Have you been to a food store lately? Don't tell us what we know. It just doesn't work anymore.
But that's part of this crumbling structure. I see it because I'm involved in the fashion world and the art world. All those structures are crumbling. The museums are being looked at in different ways now, how they're run, what they've stolen. And the fashion world, we can go back to small designers, and artists can sell their own work. They don't need the broker of these, the smoke and mirror galleries, who want you to think. I mean, all this elitism has to stop.
Because people want authenticity. That's the thing they want more than anything else. And you don't need polls, though the polls do show that. That's really what people want. I mean, we've been having a lot of fun, because people who know us we're the same as we've been for the last 50 years.
Forever.
And we've been on the outside.
Right.
Well, we're outsiders, and we don't mind.
Let's talk about that, because, we call you the enchanted world, and you really are enchanting and enchanted, because you've got so much creativity, so much talent between the two of you. You work together. You've got great synergy. I'd like to see your synergy chart. You've got longevity. You've got unconditional love. And you've got success at what you're doing, which most people never get in 3 or 4 lifetimes. You've gotten it in this lifetime. And with that, you have helped so many other people around you.
Well, very sweet of you to say. I mean, we've redefined success in terms of us.
Yeah.
I mean,
remember, which everybody has to do.
Yes.
Because it's where we're going. Right.
Yeah.
But
if your bills are paid and you're healthy and you're with your love, what am I supposed to do? Complain about something?
That's what we're talking about here all the time. It's what you do, right? With the darkness, the shadows in your life. Do you come back and help other people get through their dark times? Or do you wallow in it and just, go more into that deep hole? Or do you exploit it, take ownership of it, and again, create something that really helps the universe, the world, the people in your orbit heal from their own pains and tragedies? I love the two of you because you are understated, but people have been coming to you for a very long time when they go through these, again, the dark times. And I remember the first time I met you decades and decades ago and your beautiful home, and it's just filled with enchanting items from jewelry to books to cards. And I just happen to have a few here. So
Oh, you're so sweet.
I'm going to start with the creativity oracle. It's typical of what you two do together. Amy is a fabulous detailed artist. This is one of her cards. This is
So
an
is this.
visualization card. Um, and the cards that come with your books, the lessons learned in the books, the hope that you give with your words on the cards is what people are seeking. People who are lost, people who don't know where they're going, people who can't see the other side of the tunnel.
We
And
should hang out with you all the time. You're so nice. We have a new friend the last few years named Anne Marie who saw us on some crazy thing we were doing during the pandemic called Ask the Oracles and made a documentary. She's a filmmaker. She had made 2 feature films.
And there's a clip of
you.
Lynn in it.
We
have a clip of when you were on Good Day New York with you.
I love it. That was such a great story too, how that came to be.
My favorite segment that we did, because we were on quite often with you.
Thank you.
You were.
And people would call in, you would hear their voice. So this woman called in and said, "Will my son get out of jail?"
And we said,
and we picked the cards. We both said no.
And she
said, "Good." I said, "Good."
And it comes wafting through the speakers in the studio,
so
and you all cracked up behind the desk.
Well, you're so great at that. I love that they, treated tarot just normal back then.
Thanks to you.
It is normal. It's going to get more normalized because people are seeking answers. But speaking of your fans, as you said, you have them from all over the world. I have one that I live with, and his name is Joel, and he's my husband. He wanted to say hi.
Happy anniversary.
Yes, happy anniversary. It's like Enchanted Couples Week here.
Oh, aren't you nice?
Well, it's true.
He has a great story about the two of you.
I
deny everything, but I'll buy the negatives.
Well, being with Lynn, I was certainly exposed to astrology. She said to me one day, I have this great couple. We're going to go out to dinner with them, but you should have a reading with Monty. So I said, Lynn, I just had a reading an hour and a half ago.
So I'm always giving you.
Because Lynn's always giving me gift. So she said, no, Monty's different. So I go up to your room, and I had never met you, and out walks this coolest guy I ever saw. You had the beret on, you had moons and stars on, So you had me at hello. And you gave me really just an amazing reading. I had goosebumps, when I walked out of there. And I feel it now. And am I going to tell you that everything came to pass or everything didn't come to pass? Frankly, I don't remember.
That's the way it goes.
Because
but you got through. You got through.
Oh, we got through, and I know it was a very positive reading because we had dinner afterwards, and I was smiling the whole night, and I don't think it was the alcohol. So, thank you for that, Monty. It was
my pleasure.
Amazing experience, and I need another one.
Yeah, I think Lillian, who's been sitting there patiently, has a question for you because
ask away.
She is such a great producer, a great person, and she's of that generation that's open to the hot, the otherworldly stuff that some people in our generation may have been closed to.
No, but I want to say one thing about their generation. Their bullshit meter is set much more sensitively than any other generation in the history of the world. They only want authenticity and always have. So that must have been hard because parents are, it's hard to be a parent and be authentic. So anyway, ask whatever you want to ask.
Yeah, I have so many. I mean, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing not just your wisdom, but such positivity. This has been such a fun episode to listen to. But my question is about, we talked, Amy had a great quote at the beginning. She said to be forewarned is to be forearmed. And you're talking about, navigating these hard times by developing a sense of control and developing a sense of intuition. And my question is for somebody who is totally new to this world and maybe is feeling some of that pressure and chaos that we were talking about at the beginning with war, where do you start to develop that sense of your own intuition?
First of all, you got to know that it's possible to improve your intuition.
To that you have to have some sort of daily spiritual practice.
That helps.
Whether it's going for walks or taking 5 minutes to do breathing. The tarot, we make it really easy to learn and to use. And that's a tool that, because the cards are visual, you sense, your first impression of looking at the card. Yeah, the art.
Right.
Then you take in the message. But the more you do it, the more you learn to trust what you're seeing and what you're feeling from the cards. And you can do it with your friends. That's a great way to start. Pull a card for each other.
And that's where
your deepest stuff, comes out when you do that. And I think that's what we have to kind of cleanse all the time. We're talking about a cleansing countries. Well, we have to do that, by centering and recentering. So if we're feeling off balance, how do you come in? That's breathing, exercise, eating well, getting off your addictions. There's a whole range of wellness practices that you can do. And Monty and I are very dedicated to that, and it can be simple things,
You got to start from where you are, right? And so you can't expect any gurus or some other person, or if you find love, or you can't say if this person is not the president anymore, then the world's going to be great, because that's the control factor. You feel out of control, you want to control stuff.
People say if only this would happen, then everything would be okay,
Right.
So you got to know that it's possible to feel good.
That's a beautiful thing. Now, one last thing I want to ask you about this full moon, blood red moon.
Sure.
What, and the eclipse means endings, new beginnings. Where do you see
and reversals? A lot of reversals.
A lot of reversals. So where do you see us going? Where will we be in the next month or two or three?
He's looking at, we have the astro clock.
I have the astro clock up. I can show it to you if you want. But
this is a snapshot of what's going on right now for everybody.
So your emotional intelligence, fighting it out with your purpose, your energy, that's what everyone feels, that full moon. But when it happens near the headphones and the earbuds, that's when you have an eclipse. And that means all of a sudden, you do not have everything normal. So it's unusual. And the argument between your emotional intelligence and your purpose gets really weird. That's why eclipses have a bad reputation, because it disturbs the equilibrium of every person in the world.
I just want to say for the eclipse, it triggers things, but it's not always apparent the day of. Right?
It really isn't, especially if Pluto's involved.
Wow. So what can we see on the global stage with this, other than what we already see, which is war?
Yeah, I think there will be leadership changes in many countries.
Yeah, and I feel like there could be a change here too, coming before the end of the year. Just my opinion.
Well, of course, yes. There was a political movement in this country that was monolithic behind the president. It's fractured.
Yes.
Saturn, Neptune, it has dissolved it.
Yes.
The structure, which is Saturn, Neptune, has dissolved it. And when it recoalesces, it's going to be different. And it's going and it's in Aries, so it's war. It seems like war. People are not like, well, I think there's. It's like you are the biggest idiot, and it's basically in your face the way Aries people. No offense. It's not like they're bossy. It's not like they want to fight. They just know what's right and get out of my way.
And it's also the beginning. April and Mars. This is the first sign of the zodiac. So we're in a new we're in new territory. This is all going to shift everything in our lives, whether we wanted to or not.
In April,
Poor Hank.
Uranus is going to go into Gemini. And Geminis are basically Uranian, even though it doesn't have anything to do with their sign traditionally.
They get bored easy, so they're going to love it, right?
Right, because anyone who's predominant has Gemini predominant, boredom is kryptonite to them. I'm really looking forward to April because, first of all, that's when my book's coming out, but that's when Uranus will be in Gemini for 7 years.
Right, there you
Great
go.
for communication.
Yeah, right on.
Communication. It's going to be a different vibration, much
Yes.
different vibration, a different world, and we're already seeing it play out.
And I think that is going to be what happens when Uranus goes into Gemini, is people
Right.
are going to want authenticity more than even now. And here's the thing about astrology. Yes, it shows you how everybody is different, but it also shows you how we're the same. Everyone has that Saturn-Neptune conjunction falling somewhere in the pizza pie that is their chart. Everybody. And so that's why people should cut each other a little bit of slack.
We always say also, one of our other things we always say is the time of defeat is the best time to sow the seeds of success.
Yoga.
So we've always been like that,
Well
being freelancers, entrepreneurs, artists, it's very up and down our whole life. So, if we get a rejection, then right away we plant the seeds for something else,
Yes.
and it's always kind of worked for us.
We love you. You're coming back. I mean, you're going to be regulars. I hope you know this, and I hope you know
Good.
because you just rock it. You just explain it. You live it, and
Yes.
you produce it. Look at your cards and your books and your everything. You're it. You are the most authentic couple,
Aw.
most prolific, and one of the most successful couples.
And very cool.
Thank you.
Very
Totally
Thank
cool.
you.
Getting through it with Lynn.